Stop rubbing sticks together like a caveman. It's a lie that will get you terminated. When the temperature drops and the rain turns your gear into ice, your fine motor skills vanish. Your fingers won't work. Your brain will slow down. In that moment, friction is not a strategy. It's a death sentence. You don't have an hour to coax an ember. You have 30 seconds before the shivering becomes uncontrollable. You need immediate, violent combustion. Forget the primitive fantasy. Welcome to the reality of instant fire. Survival isn't magic. It is mechanical reliability. Let's talk about the most undervalued piece of engineering on the planet, the disposable flint lighter. Not the expensive windproof torches, and definitely not those piezoelectric garbage clickers. Piezo mechanisms fail the moment they get wet or the altitude climbs. They are toys. You need a flint wheel. It is crude, brutal, and unstoppable. It shreds metal to create a shower of sparks. Even if the gas runs dry, the spark remains useful. The science here is simple. Isobutane under pressure. It is a portable flamethrower, but it has a weakness. Physics dictates that as temperature drops, pressure drops. If your lighter is in your pack at sub-zero temperatures, it is a paperweight. The gas won't vaporize. Keep it against your skin, under your armpit or in a groin pocket. It needs your body heat to maintain internal pressure. Here is your directive. Buy them by the brick, 50 count boxes. Do not buy one, buy a lifetime supply. And the moment you get them, remove the child safety band. With hypothermic fingers, that thin strip of metal is an insurmountable wall between you and heat. Pop it off with a knife. Verify the fuel level. Test the wheel. This cheap plastic rectangle is the difference between a cold night and a body bag. Stockpile them like ammunition, because that is exactly what they are. But heat is not just survival. It is leverage. When the grid fails, your bank account hits zero. It doesn't matter how many digits were on the screen. They are gone. Gold is heavy, and you can't eat it. In a collapse scenario, value is defined by immediate utility. The disposable lighter becomes the most liquid currency on the streets. It is the new $20 bill. Everyone understands its value instantly. There's no exchange rate to calculate. It is binary. You either have fire or you don't. Understand the psychology of the desperate. Most people are woefully unprepared. They will lose their ability to cook or boil water within 48 hours. When they approach you asking for a light, that is not a favor. That is a business transaction. You are holding captured energy. Do not give it away for free. A working lighter can buy you passage through a checkpoint, silence a witness, or trade for antibiotics. Tactical economics demands you compartmentalize your assets. Never reveal you have a case of 50. If you show abundance, the price drops. Or worse, you become a target for acquisition. Carry 2 trash lighters in your pocket for barter. Keep the primary stockpile hidden deep in your gear. Create artificial scarcity. You are not a charity. You are the central bank of combustion. Make them pay for every joule of energy you provide.
Gas runs out. Lighters break. When the mechanism fails, you fall back to metallurgy. Enter the Ferrocerium rod. Amateurs call it a flint. Tourists hang it on their keychains as a talisman. But in the field, this is your reactor core. It is not a rock. It is a carefully engineered alloy of iron, cerium, and magnesium. When shaved rapidly, the friction oxidizes the cerium, generating molten globules of metal that burn at 3,000 degrees Celsius. That is hot enough to fuse plastic and ignite damp bark. But owning it means nothing if you lack the motor skills to exploit it. I see rookies flailing out the rod, dulling their knife blades and scattering cold dust. You are doing it wrong. You need a 90-degree spine on your tool, a sharp, squared-off edge. You do not tickle the rod, you assault it. You need to remove material. You are scraping off shavings that spontaneously combust upon exposure to air. The technique is critical. Do not push your knife forward. Your hand will slip and destroy your tinder pile. Instead, lock your knife arm in place and pull the rod back. This is controlled demolition. You are directing a concentrated stream of superheated plasma exactly where you need it. This tool works when wet. It works when frozen. It has no moving parts to jam. It is an indefinite source of ignition, limited only by the diameter of the rod and your competence. Get the thickest rod you can carry. Then one snap under stress. Thick ones last for 10,000 strikes. That is 10,000 chances to stay alive. A spark is potential. Tinder is the kinetic reality. Stop scavenging for dry leaves like a desperate rodent. In a storm, dry does not exist. Natural tinder absorbs moisture from the air. It flashes and dies in 10 seconds. That is not enough time to dry out your kindling. You need a thermal bridge. You need an accelerant that laughs at moisture. You need cotton and petroleum jelly. This is the poor man's napalm, the chemistry is undeniable. Cotton provides a massive surface area of cellulose fibers. Petroleum jelly is a complex mix of hydrocarbons that is hydrophobic. It repels water. When you combine them, you create a self-contained candle. The cotton acts as a multi-point wick, and the jelly acts as the fuel reservoir. Go to the pharmacy, buy the cheapest pads and the biggest tub of jelly. Massage the jelly into the fibers until they are saturated but not dripping. Cram them into a small, watertight tin. When you need fire, pull one out and tear it open to expose the dry fibers inside. One spark from your ferro rod will ignite it instantly. It will burn for 5 to 7 minutes with a tall, aggressive flame. That is 5 minutes to dry out damp twigs and get the main fuel source catching. It turns a crisis into a campfire. It costs pennies, weighs nothing, and guarantees combustion when the forest is trying to kill you. Do not leave home with this chemical advantage. But sometimes, the weather decides to escalate.
Standard combustion requires 3 things: fuel, heat, and oxygen. A gale force wind removes the heat and disrupts the oxygen mix. To defeat this, you need a fuel source that brings its own atmosphere to the fight. Enter the storm match. These are not the fragile wooden toothpicks you find in a kitchen drawer. They are coated with aggressive oxidizers and water-resistant wax. Once struck, they do not just burn, they react violently. You can submerge them in a mud puddle, pull them out, and they will reignite. They are miniature flares, chemically programmed to burn regardless of external conditions. But for sustained heat in a monsoon, you need rubber. Specifically, bicycle inner tubes cut into 1-inch strips. We call them ranger bands. Rubber is a dense matrix of hydrocarbons. When it ignites, it produces a thick, black, toxic smoke and a flame that sticks to everything it touches. It burns hot, slow, and dirty. The wind cannot blow it out. The airflow only feeds the reaction. Wrap a piece of rubber around your damp kindling and light it. It will drip molten, burning liquid deep into the heart of your firelay. It smells like a chemical factory, but it dries out wet wood faster than anything in nature. In a survival situation, eco-friendliness is a luxury you cannot afford. You want fire that refuses to die. Fire keeps you warm. It also reveals your position. In a hostile environment, a roaring campfire is not comfort. It is a flare gun signaling your location to everyone within 5 miles. If you light up the night, you are painting a target on your back for anyone who wants your gear. You need heat, but you cannot afford the light signature. You need to take the physics underground. This brings us to the Dakota Fire Hole. It is not just a hole in the ground, it is a tactical engine. You dig 2 chambers. The first is for the fuel, about a foot deep. The second is the air intake, positioned upwind and connected to the base of the first chamber by a small tunnel. This creates a suction effect. As the fire burns in the main chamber, hot air shoots up, creating a vacuum that pulls fresh oxygen violently through the intake tunnel. The result is a jet engine burn. The airflow is so efficient that it incinerates the particulate matter that usually causes smoke. Less smoke means less smell and no visual plume. More importantly, the flame sits below the surface of the earth. From 10 yards away, you are invisible. You can boil water and warm your hands without casting a shadow. This is light discipline. It allows you to operate while others expose themselves. In a world where visibility equals vulnerability, the Dakota Fire Hole keeps you warm and keeps you hidden. Fire is not an accident. It is the result of preparation meeting opportunity. You are done with the myths. You are not going to freeze to death trying to spin a stick between your hands. You have the redundancy of the butane. You have the infinite resource of the Ferrocerium. You have the chemical guarantee of the wax and cotton. You understand the thermodynamics of combustion and the tactics of concealment. The cold is no longer a threat. It is just another variable you have already solved. You are now the master of your own temperature. Stay warm, stay hidden, survive.